Well, what do we have to say? I mean, about this? We suck right now.
Watford 3 on the way.
Hello, guys, and thank you so much once again for joining me on Indiana Sports Connection. This is definitely one of the worst losses we've had this year, and it was really stung because of like how it went down. I mean, the whole second half, they were practically like toying with us the entire time, laughing in our faces, chanting IU sucks, chanting NIT at the end of the game. It really sucked, and it really looked bad. It was awful. I was just really hoping for a competitive game. Let's talk about like the first 6 or 7 minutes of the game, because Indiana came out in this game and really showed a lot of like poise and things right off the bat. And then it was just how it just quickly came unraveled. I think the score was around like 16-17 at that point, and Purdue started making a run, and there was just really at that point, there was nothing IU could do. I was a little bit satisfied that right before the half, Purdue made a couple of stupid mistakes just right before the half, I thought, and kind of misplayed it, where Indiana had a chance to maybe cut it to 11 or 10 there. Ended up being 12 at the half. And then we come out in the second half, don't score on our first 8 possessions in the second half. Just look absolutely awful. Some of those possessions to start the second half, which, by the way, is like the most important part of really starting out the second half, is how you got the first 5 minutes organized as a coach. And that's going to bring me to the main point I want to talk about in this video. We have to fire Mike Woodson. I don't want to watch this garbage anymore. I've heard so many fans, and our fan base is electric and they are fantastic. But when you have fans, and so many of them saying, I'm not even rooting for this team to win games down the stretch because I want Mike Woodson to be fired, that's not good. I mean, a lot of people don't like what they see out there on the court. It's not just because we're getting beat by double digits every time we're losing, even if it's Penn State or Purdue or Wisconsin. We have to move on to something else. I am adamant about that. And the reason being, I think we can get Dusty May when this season is over. We can get Dusty May right now. And if we wait 1 year from now, he is not going to be available. And the success that he's had, and I would just feel 10 times more confident with a younger coach who has absolutely more drive in him than what we're seeing out there right now. Now, let's talk a little bit more about the game, and we'll talk more about this at the later part of this episode. If this is your first time at Indiana Sports Connection and you're enjoying this rant, subscribe to Indiana Sports Connection, where the most passionate Indiana fans gather and talk about basketball. Thank you so much for being here. Thank you so much for all the support and subscribing to the channel. And I have a giveaway. It's perfectly free. Give the video a thumbs up, comment down below, and you will be entered to win home field apparel. Thank you so much for watching this video, and back to the rant. I want to really point out a part of this game that Mike Woodson just could not figure out. We shot no threes in the first half. I mean, we shot 5, but we're all kind of out of rhythm, all out of sorts. The ice defense that Jones was playing on Galloway, and he got better and better at playing that defense on Galloway as the game went on. We were trying to set high ball screens over on the side with Galloway. When you go to this action, and by ice defense, this just means that the defender, Jones, is playing Galloway so he can't get to the center of the court. He's forcing him baseline. There's a few ways you can beat that, none of which I really saw Indiana do. They're giving you the baseline. You drive baseline, and you wait for the big guy to help defense to come, and somebody in the corner is going to be open. If they close out on that fast enough, then you can kick it back around the outside. That's how you can beat it. NBA coaches suck at this type of action. They don't know what's going on out there on the court. And if you look around, this is why I'm so adamant that Mike Woodson needs to be fired. Look around college basketball. Jerry Stackhouse, NBA player, only knows the NBA. They suck. Penny Hardaway is probably the best NBA coach, that is more familiar with the NBA. He's at Memphis. They've lost 4 or 5. They suck too. You know what? Juwan Howard at Michigan. They suck. NBA coaches cannot coach in college basketball. It is just that simple. It's a different game altogether. I would say the same thing if you went from, the men's game to the women's game. That's going to be a totally different game. There's just so much of a difference. In the NBA, you have normally your top scorer is also a superstar on the team and is going to be your main leader. That's not how it is in college basketball. On this team, our leaders are Galloway, Leal, and then Renew is coming into a leadership role. And we'll talk about Renew right now. But first, let's thank our sponsor, Reynolds Wrap. This rant is brought to you by Reynolds Wrap. If you want to get back to watching the Super Bowl today faster, use Reynolds Wrap. I love this stuff. I wrap everything in it. Just wrap your plates in it, everything, and you won't even have to wash them. But thank you to Reynolds Wrap for sponsoring this video. Now let's get back to the rant. Renew is a leader on this team right now. Bad body language. And I don't really want to sit here and just rip this guy apart. But I went back and rewatched all it. These are fouls. If you take your left hand and you hack down at Edie, and then you're just sitting here, oh, what did I do? Who was not taught that in elementary school? My dad, when he coached our teams, was like, and he's refereed tons of campus life games. Go get a referee's perspective of this stuff. It's all about how it looks. I mean, you're going to bring your arm back like this and go swat at the ball. They're going to call it every time. What you want to do, get your hands underneath and only poke up at the ball. There's a way to play defense, and this team does not do it at all. Renew in this game most of the time, he is our main man, and he has the best touch around the basket, but he took himself out of this game. And the game plan in this game was to force the ball to Renew down low to go to work on a 7-4 guy. Renew and early in the game where it started to come unraveled, and we were going 8 minutes without a basket. It's like, Ware gets the ball on the baseline and does like a turnaround fadeaway on Edie. And I'm thinking, that's our offense? That's our offense. It's just to go to that. This 7-foot guy's just going to turn around and shoot a fadeaway, airballs it, and then they're off running. Our offense is so awful on so many levels. I think we had like 25 points there it was like at one point in the game, we're like, are we going to break 40 points in this game? I thought that many times. It just got really, really bad. Other players I want to point out, and I blame this on the coaches. Peyton Sparks, don't get the ball in the lane when you're not really that great at dribbling the ball in traffic, and there's a 7-4 guy in there, and he's putting the ball on the deck. Like, what was he going to do? There was nothing good was going to happen from that. I know he hit one free throw in the game. It's just like, what are you thinking? Another play in this game, it's like Renew gets out, fast break, it's like pass. Renew gets a pass from Cubs up at the top of the key. This was right at the beginning of the second half. It's like the guy just pokes the ball right away from him because he's out of position. Renew is not good dribbling the ball and being far away from the basket. And we're really not good at dribbling the ball into the lane when there's like 3 guys down there waiting for us. Teams are daring us to shoot. It's unbelievable that Leal only took 1 shot in this game. If there was any bright spot, it was CJ Gunn shooting in the second half. If there was any bright spot, it was that CJ Gunn really, in some dead air time, put together some really good looking shots and hit some rhythm threes that I thought, that's the best he's looked all year. So congratulations to CJ Gunn. You win. You're the player of the game this game. I will say this. Galloway played his heart out again. And you can tell, of all these guys on this team, Galloway is the only one that really has like a real awareness out there of what's going on and what they're doing. He even has more of an awareness than the coach. I think when he goes over and talks to the coach, he's like, well, this is where he's been in the college game longer than our coach has. It's really unbelievable, and we got to get rid of Mike Woodson. The NBA coaches in college basketball do not work, and it's never going to work. It's a totally different game. You have to have well-defined roles for the bench players in college basketball, and you have to define those roles for those players. Anthony Walker shooting a 3. Anthony Walker should just go home right now. I mean, I just don't want to see this guy shoot a 3 again. The coaching should tell him that. They should say, Anthony, and I honestly would have put Anthony Walker in on Edey some of the time. And it's frustrating playing against Edey. I get it. He is a beast out there. But that's not how they beat us. Their game plan coming out was Gabe Cupps cannot stop Braden Smith at all. Cupps just could not stay with him at all. And I do want to point out a play early in the game. Cupps made a great drive off of the baseline, drew Edey in, and then dipped a pass right around him. That is exactly what we need, that type of action where you draw Edey in and then make the pass. There's just too little and too far and few between of those types of good plays on this team for them to actually get their head out of the sand and get back into the game and be in the game. So it's just frustrating to watch. Hoosier fans, and we have tremendous amount of enthusiasm for our team and support for this team. I want to really point out one thing about Matt Painter that he does well. Dan Dockage was talking about this a little bit on Two Big Brains, is how well he evaluated that Jones, and he was the one playing the tough defense on Galloway, and he just got better and better at it as the game went on, and forcing him baseline and not letting him get into the center of the court. And they're really just stopping exactly what Indiana wanted to do. After that initial first few minutes, they went and they actually showed Matt Painter talking about this on the sideline, talking about how they were going to switch on these screens. And that's what a good college basketball coach does. And as soon as they made that adjustment, Indiana could not adjust to it. And that was when the game started to get out of hand. Something else I want to talk about, long twos in the first half. I mean, the guy at the halftime that was talking about how many long twos we took, 4 or 5 long twos in the first half, that's not a good plan for college basketball these days. It's 2024. Everybody, look at Purdue. Just look at what they do. They have a guy inside that literally could dominate Kalel Ware every single play, but they shot 24 threes in this game. That's what's unbelievable. And we're forcing the ball down into the paint and taking long twos against a team that has a freaking giant goon in the middle. How do we not? It is so frustrating to watch this team out there. All I really wanted to see was a competitive game. I know a lot of people can say whatever you want. It's been the last time that Indiana, I believe it was 1934, and I could be wrong on this year, but it was 1934, the last time that Purdue beat Indiana 2 times by 20 points or more. It was been that long. I mean, that was before. And one other thing I want to point out, there are people out there, and I've seen you online, and I say, you can't just fire the coach. The hell we can. Look at Indiana basketball's history from like 1900 until 1912, until Everett Dean came back to Indiana as the first All-American that really brought Indiana winning teams. We fired a coach every year. And I know that was 100 years ago, but you know what? It happened then, and it can happen now. You know what? If you shit the bed out there like Mike Woodson does, I'm telling you, it's like, if we wanted to watch people crap all over each other, we wouldn't have to pay $500 for tickets. You can just go down to the local nursing home and watch people crap on each other all day long. And you can save your money. But this is just, it's awful to watch. The product we see out there. And I want to also bring up, this is a real indictment on Mike Woodson as a coach, is this. He had at his disposal Dane Fife, who he had as a resource that he could have surrounded himself with, that he could have enriched himself with the knowledge that he learned from coaching IPFW, from coaching at Michigan State for all those years and being under Izzo and watching what he's doing. Did he do that? No, he didn't. He is a stubborn son of a bitch that will just drive people out of Bloomington that are going to question his thoughts on the game of basketball, because he knows it all, because he coached in the NBA, and a guy that coached in the NBA like that, they think they know it all because they coached at the highest level. Well, you know what, Mike? It's not working here, and it's not working. Somebody's got to get to Quinn Buckner and say, look, Buckner, this guy, they might be one of your best friends, but this doesn't work. And if you don't see that, then I think he should be fired too. And we got to bring in Dusty May. get the big bag of money and get the plane. And you know what? Tell them we're not paying any NIL players next year. We're not paying any NIL player more than $100,000. You know why? Because we don't need it. We don't need it. That's not part of what Indiana basketball is. Let's go out there and get some gritty sons of bitches that are going to fight their asses off out there, and we're going to root like hell for them. That's what we want to see. Just a few other, Renew was out there and he was just trying to do too much, and that was obvious. That is partially coaching. I just felt bad for him that it was like, he's the only guy on our team that is like being force-fed the ball, and he tries to be a leader, but his body language has to change. Those are fouls. You gotta be tougher. And if you're complaining the whole time and you want to be a leader on a team, then everybody's looking at you complaining and they're thinking like, yeah, we got a bad call. That's a bad state of mind. It's just a bad mentality out there. Learn from it and do something different the next time. There's one last thing I want to bring up is that I've seen people saying, well, he developed TJD. Mike Woodson didn't develop shit. TJD and Race Thompson and Galloway and all those guys played together under Archie Miller. Woodson came in. Those guys just got better over time, and their ceiling was the round of 32. It was just the talent level of those teams, and they learned to play together, and TJD turned himself into a better player over time. I don't give Mike Woodson any credit for those teams getting to the round of 32. What, you beat Wyoming and then you got boat raced by, St. Mary's in the tournament? Woohoo! In Bob Knight's later years when we got beat in the tournament like that, people were calling for Bob Knight's head as well. So you're no different, Mike. You not won 3 national championships. And if you can't get the players in here that are going to play hard and that you're going to teach them, that's the main thing. You got to be a teacher to be a college basketball coach. And he's not a teacher. He just thinks he's going to throw guys out there together and they're somehow going to gel together, and he's not able to coach them up in the right way. Thank you so much for joining me on this episode. They don't play for a week now. We got a whole week off again, and we're going to have to see what he says in these press conferences and what he says going forward. But I'm sick of it. And I'm just ready to move on from this. And I've heard it from so many people that they're sick of it. And that's my opinion too. And it's just that NBA coaches can't be coaches in college basketball. And that is obvious. Thank you so much for joining me on this episode of Indiana Sports Connection. I am going to enjoy the rest of my day, get some chicken wings, watch the Super Bowl, got some prop bets out there. That's one other thing. I listened to Dan Dockich, and he said, there is no way Indiana loses by 20 in this game. I put only $5 on Indiana to cover the spread, and they ended up getting beat by 20. I know the spread, I think, went down to 8.5 points, was over-under on the point spread. But anyway, Dan, I lost my $5. That's okay. Enjoy the rest of your Sunday. It's Super Bowl Sunday, Hoosier fans, so, there's going to be a lot of red out there. So enjoy it. And until next time, stay classy out there, Hoosier fans.